before the police knew his face, before his name became a warning on every highway. He was just a boy with dreams, hunger, and one dangerous love. But the path he chose would turn him into a legend of fear and eventually destroy him. This is the rise and downfall of Shina Rambo, before his name became a warning whispered on dark highways. Before police officers flinched at the mere mention of him. Before the streets baptized him as Shina Rambo. He was just a young boy born into chaos. His early world was a place where hunger was a teacher and struggle was normal. He didn't grow up dreaming of crime. He didn't imagine guns, robberies, or death. He imagined survival. Nothing more. His father was a strict man. His mother a quiet woman who endured more than she spoke. Shina watched violence long before he ever committed it. Arguments that rattled the walls. Streets where power decided everything. Nights where people disappeared and no questions were asked. Poverty didn't just squeeze his family. It shaped his worldview. It whispered a message that would stay with him his entire life. In this world, the weak don't survive. Still, he tried. He fought to stay clean, to work honest jobs, to be better than the environment that raised him. But fate doesn't always reward good intentions. Sometimes it punishes them. And fate entered his life in the form of a woman. Her name was Ronki, sharp tongue, sharp mind. A woman who had survived the streets long before she met Shina. Where he tried to escape the world, she had learned to navigate it. Where he saw danger, she saw opportunity. Where he hesitated, she pushed. Their meeting wasn't magical. It wasn't romantic. It was raw. Two broken people, hoping the other could fill a void. For a while, Ronki became the only softness in Shina's life. But love, especially in the slums, is a double-edged blade. And Ronki's influence began subtly, like a gentle hand pulling him into darkness. A suggestion here, a complaint there. A reminder that survival required more than honesty. You're too strong to be broke, Shina. You're too smart to stay poor. Nobody survives this life by being gentle. She didn't force him into crime. She didn't drag him by the neck. What she did was more dangerous. She made him believe he deserved more, even if more had to be taken. One night, Ronke returned home shaking. A debt collector had slapped her in public, humiliated her, threatened her. Shina saw red. He wasn't thinking of crime. He wasn't thinking of consequences. He was thinking of protecting the only person who made him feel seen. He found the man. Words were exchanged. The man laughed at him, and Shina snapped. He beat the man with a rage he didn't know he possessed, a release of years of insult, hunger, fear, and suppressed anger. By the time he stopped, the man lay unconscious and broken. That night, Shina felt two things: fear and power. Fear of what he had done. Power from what he discovered about himself. The streets smelled the shift, and people who had once ignored him now saw potential. Not in the man he was, but in the weapon he could become. Among them was Abbas Oluto Karim, a rising name in the underworld, a strategist who saw opportunity in brutality. Abbas approached Shina with a cold smile. You have rage. You have strength. What you lack is direction. Come with me. Let's see what you're truly made of. Shina refused at first, but the seed was already planted. The moment that sealed his fate wasn't a crime. It was injustice. Shina and Ronke were stopped by police officers late one night. Not for a crime, not for suspicion, just because they could. They slapped him, mocked him, took his money, threatened Ronke, and laughed as they walked away. Shina stood there, burning with rage, held back only by helplessness. That night, he realized something that would change him forever. Honesty doesn't protect you. The law doesn't protect you. Only power protects you. The world had chosen violence, so he embraced it. When Shina finally walked into Abbas's camp, the gang didn't need an introduction. The street had already exaggerated his attack on the debt collector. Rumor turned him into a monster. His initiation wasn't ceremonial, it was brutal. A traitor was tied to a post. Shina was given a weapon. He wasn't asked to kill, just to beat. He hesitated for a second. Then Ronke's tears flashed in his mind. The slap from the police, the mockery, the hunger, the humiliation. His blows were merciless. Abbas watched with satisfaction. "Congratulations," he said. "You've crossed the line. There's no going back." And Shina didn't want to go back. Not anymore. His first robbery was supposed to be simple. A quick night operation on the Ibadan road. But the third vehicle refused to stop. Fear turned into panic. A gunshot shattered the windshield. The driver crashed into a ditch. Shina approached the wreckage, gun in hand. The man inside begged for mercy. Shina froze. This was the moment, the defining moment, the point of no return. If he spared the man, he might preserve what was left of his humanity. If he pulled the trigger, he would become something else entirely. He remembered the police laughing. He remembered Ronke's bruised cheek. He remembered every night hunger mocked him. He pulled the trigger. Silence followed. And from that moment on, Shina understood something deadly. Killing becomes easier the second time, and the third, and the 10th. Years passed. Shina became more than a gang member. He became a strategist, a war machine, a man who studied police patrol patterns, escape routes, and weak points on highways. His operations became bolder: multi-car ambushes, convoy hijackings, precision robbery missions, night raids that terrified entire regions. And every successful operation grew the myths. Some said he was bulletproof. Some said charms made him invisible. Some swore he had supernatural powers. But the truth was simpler. Shina Rambo was fearless. And fearless men are the most dangerous kind. Success breeds arrogance, arrogance breeds enemies. Abbas, who once mentored him, now feared him. Gang members began whispering behind his back. Ronke, once his biggest influence, thought him slipping away. He became colder, harsher, more ruthless. The man was fading. The monster was taking over. And every gangster knows, once paranoia enters your blood, death isn't far behind. This was the beginning of the end. The rise was complete. Now came the fall. The end didn't arrive with a roar. It began with a whisper, a subtle shift in the air, a shift only a man living on the edge could sense. Shina's empire was breaking, not because the police had suddenly become smarter, but because the people around him had become tired. Tired of running, tired of fearing him, tired of living under a man who now trusted no one, not even the woman who once held his heart. A highly guarded cash convoy was moving across state lines. It was the kind of operation even experienced criminals avoided. Abbas warned him. His men begged him to reconsider, but Shina felt untouchable. "Fear is weakness," he said, "and I don't fear anything." It was his worst miscalculation. The convoy arrived. The roadblock was set. Shina stepped forward. And then, police officers emerged like ghosts from the trees. They weren't reacting. They were waiting. Someone had betrayed him. Gunfire exploded. 3 of his best fighters fell instantly. The convoy escaped. Chaos erupted. For the first time, Shina tasted defeat. Bitter, burning, unforgettable. That night, he made enemies of his own men. Suspicion spread like poison. The gang fractured. A kingdom built on fear was now falling apart, with every operation failing, every ally turning on him, and every shadow feeling like a threat. Shina became unpredictable. He stopped sleeping, stopped trusting, stopped caring. Ronke, the woman who once shaped him, now feared him. Her voice broke one night as she whispered, "You're not the man I loved. You're not even a man anymore." He didn't answer. He just stared at the wall. That silence told her everything. She walked away, quietly, heartbreakingly. And with her departure, The last human part of Shina died. Now he was alone. And a lone criminal is a dead criminal. Months later, after a series of desperate robberies, the police finally cornered him on the Lagos-Ibadan expressway. Night, rain, sirens. A chase that felt like a war sequence. His car spun violently into a barrier. He crawled out bleeding, refusing to surrender. He fired, reloaded, fired again. Witnesses said he fought like a man who had already accepted death. Police bullets tore through the air. 3 struck him before he collapsed, but he didn't die. Not yet. He survived the bullets. He escaped custody through bribery. But he wasn't the same man. His body weakened, his mind shattered. Fear, the thing he once controlled, now controlled him. He hid in villages, in bushes, abandoned homes. Fear became his companion, not his enemy. The legend was now living like a haunted animal. A rival gangster, seeking revenge for his brother's death, tipped off the police. Before dawn broke, officers surrounded the building where Shina was hiding. No shootout, no escape, no miracle. He was too tired to run, too wounded to fight, too broken to pretend he was invincible. They found him sitting on the floor, staring at nothing, breathing like a man who had already met his fate. He didn't resist. The monster of the highways, the nightmare of the southwest, the legend feared by thousands, was arrested without firing a single shot. News spread like wildfire. Some celebrated. Some doubted it was really him. The myth had become larger than the man. But myths fade and men fall. Shina Rambo's downfall wasn't caused by police, rivals, or curses. It was caused by arrogance, betrayal, paranoia, and the streets collecting their overdue debt. He rose through violence. He lived by fear. He ruled through intimidation. But in the end, he died in silence, long before his body ever left the streets.